So here we are again, space transformed yet again. We've got the dance floor down again. Very good reason for the dance floor being down today. So Namron, who's coming over, Namron is a dancer that kind of really he inspired a whole generation of people here in the UK. He was one of the first black dancers in London Contemporary Dance Theatre. He kind of came over from Jamaica in the 70s. And he taught me at Northern School of Contemporary Dance. That's kind of where I was inspired. And he is actually one of my greatest inspirations in dance. Because I recently wrote an article for a black dance book. And it's about modern kind of choreography. I'll give you the title at the end. So basically, I named him as one of the greatest inspirations in it. So today, he's coming over to my studio to share with you guys some of the rituals that have kind of kept him going as an artist, physically, mentally, over the years. And he does this thing that he does every morning. So this was kick-started. I'd been talking to Namron about doing something for quite a few years. And, you know, there is this fear sometimes of technology, but actually it was more about time, you know, I'm putting him down. And it wasn't until Regenerations, a few weeks ago, at Manchester at the Lowry, where there was a woman called Amanda that did a great talk about how you can monetize or how you can get more of your work out there online. So I've been doing this for quite a while, as you may know, teaching online, doing online webinars, etc., etc. So Namron came rushing up to me after he said, "I want to make some money." I'm like, okay. It's not always that easy because this isn't necessarily about making money. But one of the other things we talked about in the conference was about discourse and about owning the discourse around your work. So I'm mad keen for artists, particularly artists that are working in dance of the African diaspora, to document, to disseminate, to talk about their work. So Namron's coming over here today to talk about his work and the things that he's done, and I must say it's a complete honour. But what it did when we were at the conference, there was I suppose it was a conference about digital, but actually what kind of came out of it was there is this fear of digital from a generation that are pioneers, that are, I suppose, that have brought the information, have worked in the UK in African people's dance for quite a few years. And now, you know, they might not be so active, but actually they've got so much information, so much knowledge, videotapes, articles. So for me, it was really important that actually, if you don't just keep it to yourselves, or it's not just under your bed on a VHS tape or a mini DV tape. So I'm kind of on this mission to try and talk to people, trying to get them to share their information. So on that same conference, we had some roundtable discussions about the sector and how we can advance the sector. This happens every 2 years, how we can advance the sector. The problem is, it doesn't really advance. We kind of have the same conversations every 2 years. It's great that, you know, you do these exercises, but actually it's the people, it's you that's going to make the difference. It's not the funding bodies, it's not the venues, it's you. Get your arse out there and get doing stuff and distribute your work, other than thinking I've got to get a gig at a theatre that I've been knocking on the door for 15 years and they've still not opened the door. Who cares? They've got their thing. We know that's how they're going to operate. It's up to you to start to make stuff online, to make stuff that's consumed online, and then you can build your audience, and then you can go knock on the theatre door and say, look, I've already got 2,000 people that bought their tickets from a crowdfunding campaign. Can we have your theatre? Some are going to say no, because they don't want their nose put out of joint, because they've been busy shopping the world for culture. And actually you can just go on YouTube now and put in and experience whatever culture you want. So those gatekeepers almost need to change their role or reassess their role more as facilitators to allow growth, because their venues are gonna die because they're thinking, okay, we'll get the people bums on seats. But actually those bums on seats companies were there 2 years ago or a year ago, and it's just like not the same ones again. Anyway, I'm digressing. So we had this thing over at the roundtable discussions, and people were saying, you know, actually John T was leading one of the roundtables, and he said, "Oh, we're going to write this book, and Carolyn Hines is going to write it, and it's a book about Namron, and we're going to get some funding." And I'm like, alarm bells, funding. So immediately I stood up at the end and said, "Okay, who would like to see this book? Who'd like to read this book?" People put their hand up. There's about 80 people in the room. "How much would you be prepared to pay for this book?" I said, 30 quid. Not many hands went down. So I'm thinking that's £2,400 right there. So I reduced it a little bit and started a crowdfunding campaign for £2,100. So I'm surely it's going to get there. So anyway, we're probably 4 weeks in, and we've got about 370 quid. And that was from some people that weren't even at the conference, but are action takers. So this is a bigger picture, what I'm talking about owning the discourse, but also owning what we do and enabling ourselves, rather than going out with our begging bowls and saying, "Please give us some funding, please open your theatre to let us perform, please, please, please." It's like, no, drop that nonsense. You have got to start doing for yourselves, whether you're an elder. Some of the younger generation, they're just killing it online. They're getting their stuff out online, and that's how people are knowing about them. So the generation we've had that are a bit dubious or a bit scared about the technology, yes, one of the things at the conference was like, "Oh, team up with somebody that's young and they can get your work out there online." They're too busy getting their work out there online at times. So me, I'm kind of in the middle. I'm lucky. I was kind of at that time where the internet started, and I'd already been an artist before. So I didn't really kind of lose the idea of digital. I was kind of on the cusp. So I think I'm at a really good space where I have access to how it was before the online, and I have access to how it now is online. Where some of the younger artists, it's online. They've never known life without the internet or digital. So what I'm proposing is that this crowdfunding campaign is a bigger picture. It's really about us as a community of artists doing for ourselves, because I'm really up for people empowering themselves, especially artists that may feel marginalized. These days, it's not so important about what director or what person who's in charge likes your work. It's about your audience, and you can build that audience independently online. How do you think artists that are musicians release albums and they've got no record deal? They go to their crowd to help them fund it because they want to hear what they've got to play. So you've got to start to develop your audience online, and there's only one way to do that, and that's make stuff for online. That doesn't necessarily mean digitizing your stage performances, because they're stage performances, they lose a lot. So it's like if somebody creates an album, yes, they might record a live album, but it's created for the ears. It's created for personal consumption rather than at a stadium. So there's no way of comparing a stadium or a gig with an MP3, CD, whatever. So that's what we have to do. So one of those things is having your own space to do it in if you don't want to have to pay. And I keep kind of going on about like these spaces. So this is our space, folded space, run by the Cultural Assembly. That's my company. And we've had this space now for just over a year. So we've done exhibitions, dance classes, fortnight dance battles, discussions, films. We've done all sorts here, and we've not had to ask permission from anybody, because we do as we want. We connect with the community that connect with us. I always say it's a space for the culturally curious. So if you're curious about culture other than your own, you're welcome. So that's these spaces are up and down every single high street, every town. So if you're from outside of London, there is some from the outer skirts of London, Zone 3, Zone 4, in some of the towns there. There's spaces there for you as an artist, as a creative, to animate, to bring value to that area. So imagine this space was empty for, I don't know, probably about 2 or 3 years before we took it on. Imagine the amount of footfall that we've brought in here compared to when it was empty. It's exponential, the percentage, because one person walks through the door, that's 100%. We've probably had about close on, 1,000 people through the doors I could be over egging it a little bit, but it's a lot. It's a lot more than 0. So all I'm saying to you, artists, particularly artists of the diaspora, our work always gets, first of all, it gets marginalised to us, but it gets appropriated, and it becomes popular culture. Be there on the cusp, so you can bring that popular culture to your high street. Now this exhibition, I don't know, I'm going to finish what I said there. So you can bring this culture to the high street. It's something that connects people, especially what my background is in hip-hop theatre. Hip-hop culture has been one of the most widely used things to bring people together, and it does bring people together. So even if it's not hip-hop culture, your work as an artist, as a creative, will just bring people to the space, especially when automation is going to take more people's jobs and they're going to need more things to do. I'm kind of really going off the subject here, but you know, I'm passionate about empowering artists, so you have a place at the table that is not just as an artist thinking, oh, let's make them, you're valuable to the community, you're valuable to your city, you're valuable to your town. If you're thinking that way, so you're not just thinking of, oh, let's make a show that's going to tour, which is kind of inconceivable these days, because a tour is so crazy that you make something, you put your heart and soul into it, at the end of the tour it goes off the end of a cliff and you never see it again, unless you raise lots of money for it again to be toured again. But a majority of the time it won't be seen again. Imagine if that was a musician and they did a tour. So we do our tour, our fans love it, bam 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 bam, we do the tour, but you can never hear the songs again, because guess what, we only do live. We don't have digital products. You as artists and creatives need digital products so you can sustain yourself as an artist, and so people can buy into your brand, because you are a brand, like it or not. And I know some artists will be like, well, I'm not a brand, I like making my art for myself. That's cool, because we don't need everybody. If you're cool with doing that, do it. But those people that are not inspired by the struggle anymore, there's another way that you can do this, and it doesn't have to be through funding. It's just about you being smart about what you do and how you do it. So this exhibition, I'm just going to go very quickly and I can draw this to an end because I've got to go meet Namron. So this is a lady that is self-trained. She trained herself, and we've had this exhibition up here for a while, especially when we had our Stand Up for Diversity. Her name's Benedicta McCary. She's been here in Southend for about a year. I've taken a couple down there because we have an organisation that meets here on a Wednesday called Welcome to the UK, and it's for refugees that come to the UK that have not learned English, and it's about them learning English. So, as I said, you could do what you want in this space. It's just beautiful. I love the freedom. So, I'm just encouraging you to do for yourselves, especially, again, I reiterate, artists that are working in the dance of the African diaspora. This could be your space. If you want a space like it, to do your work, to create, to run your classes, to hire it out and make a bit of extra money, please do it, because we're just going to be stuck here, the same record 2 years later. Oh, get some funding. Oh, we're not getting the gigs. Oh, I'm tired of hearing the same old, I want to say the word, but I'm not going to, the same old, but on a different day. Get off your arses and do something. Do something that, if you're not, because I know some of you are, so this is not everybody, but those of you who are thinking, you know, it's tapping in your head, like, yeah, I should do more. I should do it! So, just get out there, please. And when you get those spaces, or you get your eye on a space, come talk to me. Because my dream is that this space, and you know, 10 other spaces around the country, we're all digitally connected, so we can see what each other's doing. We can have an alternative touring circuit. It doesn't have to be a massive, massive stage. This is something about audience development. It's about you sustaining yourself as an artist. So get in touch if you're interested. So I've got to switch off now because Namron's on his way. He's going to be here soon. I'm super excited. So I'll feed you in later so you can see some of the things that we're talking about later.